Alright, I got cut off, but back to borders, which was, if you remember, it was one of the areas outside of the content. And if you open up inspection elements here, more tools, developer tools. Oh, did I click on it? Developer tools. If you go here, you can also see the representation of the box model right under this tab. Not the top one, but the bottom one. It will show you the box model of every element on the HTML page. So if you clicked on inspect elements, you can go hover over it, click on any random one of them, and the border is represent. The border is not outside of the content. The padding is outside of the content. The border is outside of the padding. Is what contains the padding. So if you click on this one, this has a border. No, it has no border. There's no border, so you can't really see the border. As you can see that it's indicated by these dash signs. If there's no dash sign, it would say what the size of the margin is. This margin has a height of 16. So when you see that orange on the left, it pops up and you can see that element has a margin of size 16. Okay, anyways, now back to this course content. A border is a line that surrounds an element like a frame around a painting. So it can also be nothing. Borders can be set with a specific width, style, and color. Width is the thickness of the border. A border's thickness can be set in pixels or with one of the following keywords: thin, medium, or thick. Style, the design of the border. Web browsers can render any of 10 different styles. If you click on this one, you can see there's all these types of styles: dotted, dash, solid, double, groove, ridge, inset. Oh, I wish they showed a picture of what it looks like. Oh, here's an example. You can see all these different types of borders. That's great. Oh, this one looks like one of those arc you can see on the streets. Anyways, back. Color, the color of the border. Web browsers can render colors using a few different formats using 140 built-in different keywords. So 140, where does that number come from? Oh, 140 is the colors that has a name to it. There are 256 colors. No, there's many different colors, but only 140 of them has a name to it. The others you would have to specify by some values, a mix of red, green, and blue. And in the example above, the border has a width of 3 pixels, a style of solid, and a color of coral. All 3 properties are set in one line of code. All 3 properties are set in one line of code. The default border is medium, none, color, medium, none, color, where color is the current color of the element. If width, style, or color are not set in CSS file, the web browser assigns a default value for the property. Okay, so they take in 3 values. Medium, they don't specify any size, so it's medium by default. They said solid as type of border, style, and the coral is the border color. So since they did not mention the size, it's by default medium. In this example, the border style is set to solid and the color is set to coral. The width is not set, so it defaults to medium. Add a dotted red border with 1 pixel thickness to all H2 headings. The syntax for a border declaration can be written as border width, style, color. So this is the syntax of border declaration. Width, then style, then color. To put space in between, remember to put space in between each value. Oh, we're supposed to follow the instructions. Add a dotted red border with 1 pixel thickness to the all H2 heading. So we look for that H2 selector, which is right here. And we can specify the border to be 1 pixel. Now let's run and see if that is correct. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't specify the 3 values, and they asked for it to be dotted. They also asked for it to be dotted, so dotted. And they also want it to be red, so red. Now we run that again to see if we satisfy the requirements. Yay, we did. Now the second one, add a solid white border with a 3 pixel to the banner, to the ID banner, and class content of class content with the class content, and h1 tag, so we can specify that. I don't know where it is. Banner content h1. So this is the one dotted somewhere here. Oh no, this was a red dotted. That's what we did before. So let's see what the banner content h1 is. Banner content h1. Banner content h1. Conservation efforts. It's the part where that shows conservation efforts at lake. Oh, this is the h1. Okay, so we're going to make changes to that one. So look at what it looks like now, and when we add that border, it's going to be, when we add a border, a solid one, a 3 pixel, solid style, white color, what will it look like? We did that. Next, now the border radius. Ever since we revealed the border of boxes, you may have noticed that the borders highlight the true shape of an element's box square. Thanks to CSS, a border doesn't have to be square. You can modify the corners of an element's border box with the border radius property. You can modify the corners of an element's border box with the border radius property. Oh, here it is. Here's the border radius property. The border box. The corners, we can modify the corners of an element's border box, so it doesn't have to be a square. The code in the example above will set all 4 corners of the border to a radius of 5 pixels, i.e. the same curvature that a circle with a radius of 5 pixels would have. You can create a border that is a perfect circle by first creating an element with the same width and height, and then setting the radius equal to half the width of the box, which is 50%. The radius equal to half the width of the box. Half the width of the box. Okay, so if it's a rate of 50%, if the corner is curved 50%, it will be half the width of the box, so then it would look like that. Okay, so let's check it out. Let's see what it would look like if we change the border radius. If we curve the corner of this banner content h1 element to 15 pixels. So what was the name of the property again? It was border radius. We just learned it, and we want to set it to 15 pixels. What would that look like? What? It's wrong. Oh, I put in the wrong one. It has to be in this rule. This rule declaration. The declaration has to be in this rule set. Now let's see. Did it target the right element? Yes, it did, and it looks so nice. Next is the padding. The space between the contents of a box and the borders of a box is known as padding. Padding is like the space between a picture and the frame surrounding it. In CSS, you can modify this space with the padding property. In CSS, you can modify the space with the padding property. So if you remember what I showed you in the developer tools, they're talking about the padding, which is around the content, as you can see here. The blue is the content. So the code in this example puts 10 pixels of space. Actually, hold on. I didn't know if my microphone was even on. Let me stop recording and separate it into the next video.